And welcome to today's edition of 600 Seconds of Trading. Today is September 3rd, 2018, and my name is Alejandro Zambrano, Chief Market Analyst with TradeCaptain.com and Amana Financial. I'm going to provide you guys with a quick update. As we usually do, we'll take a look at Euro dollar, Bitcoin, gold, crude oil, and the DAX, and we'll also see if we can look at other markets that are interesting. But before we start, as always, I need to stress that trading financial markets, unfortunately, is high risk, and about 80% of retail traders that trade with brokers in general, you've probably seen this online over the last month, they tend to lose money. Okay, so let's begin. But before we begin, don't forget to like the videos as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. The Trade Captain handle is Trade CPT, like this, and provides you with a bunch of setups and ideas that we share here from the whole team. And if you just want to follow my account, then it's AlexFX00, like this. AlexFX00. Whereas the other one is Trade CPT. Okay, let's kick off, and we're going to begin with the euro. So the euro, fortunately, came under a bit of pressure on Friday, and it did actually trade below this level here, which was the trend defining level. And I intentionally pushed them closer and closer and closer to the price. I tried to push them closer so when we do get stopped out, we're gonna be dealt a small blow instead of a big blow. And the market did trade below supports. If one was trading on the back of that setup, one would have been stopped out. And what I did also warn is that wasn't particularly a good setup. So I hope not too many of you guys traded on the back of that setup I shared with you guys last week. Now going forward, the market did dip below that level, but then bounced back up. And if you look at this right now, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it very bearish, and the market could potentially bounce back up again. But if you look at Australian dollar versus the USD and the New Zealand dollar versus the USD, these markets both turned lower and are now bearish. Pound dollar as well is under pressure. Why? Because Barnier from the EU, he said that we rejected Theresa May's plan. Whereas here on August 29th, he said that he was willing to give the UK a special deal. But today, on Sunday, he said that, it's not, well, I think the actual wording is that they can't expect to have that sort of trading deal as they have proposed so far. Because the UK is looking to get some sort of a deal when it comes down to goods, and the Barnier today says that probably that's not going to happen. So he lifted the pound by his comments, and by his comments, the market is now lower. So this is not bearish by any means. The market is still trade bullish about 128.42. So the market might actually bounce and head to the upside. However, it's more likely now that this is going to fail because it bounced on his word and it declined on his word. So I'm not saying, but signs are telling me that we could potentially start to see a weaker euro. So from a trading perspective, does it make any sense to get involved right now? I personally don't think so. I think this market will trade sideways for longer, and I would focus rather on something like maybe 115.26. If it establishes itself below this level, we could probably go down a bit and maybe a little bit lower. We would need to see exactly what happens when it happens. The alternative is that it takes out something like I would say like 118.47 or so. Take this level out, and then maybe we can do something like this. So I'm gonna treat this as a range and effectively work with other markets until we have either a bullish or a bearish break. And I don't want to get involved in the short term because we're probably going to get hurt by doing so. So the alternative is maybe focus something like on the Aussie dollar. I'm quite sure I showed you the Aussie dollar not so long time ago, and one of my ideas was to sell here at 72.94 for it to head to the downside. And the market moved to the upside. We almost got stopped out, but the drawdown was 70 pip, and we did not get stopped out by trading above the high. And then the market plummeted with 125 pip. So 125 pip divided by 70, that's an effective risk to reward trade of 1.78. So did quite good there at the end. And I think now maybe the Aussie dollar is going to bounce to 72.35. Well, I'm not saying it will bounce, but if it does bounce up here, maybe a little bit higher, 72.60, I think traders will try to sell here. And I think they're going to remain bearish as long as trade below 73.20. And the New Zealand dollar looks very, very similar to that. In regards to the pound versus the USD, the trend again is bullish about 128.42, but I wouldn't be buying today on the back of what Barnier said on Sunday. Maybe we can give this another day or two and see how it reacts. If it's still around these levels by tomorrow, then maybe we could work with a bullish position at that point. But right now, I think we need to let the market sort of, people need to adjust to his comments, okay? And that's what we're seeing. That's what we have, this little gap here to the downside, and they'll probably continue to sell a bit more. And then we'll just see. We'll just see tomorrow, you know, if was it enough to spook the market and we're gonna be almost stopped out, or is the market still gonna be at a healthy level we can look to buy. And tomorrow we can take a decision on the back of that. Let's take a look now at the price of Bitcoin. So we stick true to the program. So this is Bitcoin, and the market pretty much touched our target. We said that if we would establish ourselves, if the price would establish itself about 66.39, I said it probably can go to the upside. And then I said if it corrects down to about 6,800, I said traders are probably going to buy here again. So this was the second opportunity to get on board on this trend, and then the market moved to the upside. I know we have not touched this high, but I'm going to consider this as being a profit. Now, going forward, I think we can get rid of this now, and I think we can reduce the trend defining level limited by this high, and we're still stuck in this ascending triangle, which eventually I suspect could, you know, trigger a break to the downside and take it down lower. But for now, I'm maintaining that bullish bias, and I suspect this market could head higher. This is a high here, which is 77.14, and I think if the market would move back down to levels seen here, some of the weekend levels, the exact level I'm focusing on is this one here, which is 7,068. I think the market could potentially look to get involved and go long here again and target this high here, which is the August 2nd high, or it's the high from August 2nd, something like that. And then we'll see what happens. If we take out this level, the market will go down a bit, and then we'll just see what happens afterwards. I don't necessarily think that just because we break this level that the market is going to tumble lower. Now here is the price of gold. Now this is something we discussed and said, you know, it's possible to buy down here. We touch this level, and there's nothing wrong with buying here if you're looking to trade this short-term uptrend. Now, I'm more of a trading with the short-term trend when it's with this move, okay, with this downtrend. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes because I did trade New Zealand dollar versus the Swiss franc, and I'm going to show you how I did trade that market. Now here, because this is a downtrend in the big picture, I'd rather trust that one, and the macro fundamentals have not changed. Even if Donald Trump tries to talk down his own currency and limit interest rates until he sort of, like right now, the market doesn't think he can do anything about it. So fundamentally, I think we still go to the downside. So now here, from the short term though, scalpers and alike, they're still probably buying here and trying to lift this to the upside. But look at the Aussie dollar, look at the New Zealand dollar. They all ended their uptrends. So if this has a similar fate, that would not surprise me. So I'm not buying here myself, but technically, uh, the short-term technicals are more important than my long-term outlook when trading here. So I'm gonna stick to a bullish view, but I wouldn't be trading this myself. Here's the price of crude oil. The market, moved a bit higher and now it's coming down a bit. I think, as I said last week, you're probably better off waiting for a bit of a corrective move. Alternatively, if it takes out the high here, people will probably buy or stop losses just down here. So it would be buying at 70.44 with a stop at 69.47. That's what I think the traders are going to be doing. Doesn't mean that you need to go out and do it, but I think again, if we trade higher, I think that makes perfect sense. German DAX is trading sideways really, and there's not too much to do about this. The market was short-term bullish, it did rally, and then it plummeted. As I've been stressing and saying, US stock markets are much better to focus on um, than the actual DAX right now because of the problems with these sideways markets. So let me explain to you how I would combine the long term and the short term. So this is the New Zealand dollar versus the Swiss franc. And it's actually a market that I traded 2 times lately. So just to let you know, this is a daily chart. So from the daily, you can see that we were stuck in this big triangle pattern like this, and the market traded below support here. So the big picture trend was clearly bearish, and I shorted here for the move to the downside. And now lately, you can see here as well how, at least in the short term, the trend was short-term bullish here. But last week I sold here as the market turned bearish and triggered some head and shoulders. I sold here, let it go down, and I got out. I think it was at 64.30-ish down here. That combines the short term with the big picture, and that tends to work very good for me. Okay, guys, I need to rush. That's why we started a bit earlier today. So I'm gonna finish for today. Don't forget to hit that video or like button. Mauricio, I wish I could provide you with an update on that, but unfortunately I need to rush to another meeting, which is starting right now. I'll see if I can do an update on this later on, Mauricio, and I'll do an article on it. Keep an eye out on Alex FX00, and I might publish a chart for you in an hour or two. Have a good day, guys, and thank you so much for joining, Mauricio. Goodbye.